So let's just start talking about like, well, so what does it mean to have, what does an ecosystem mean? So the definition is the interconnectedness of organisms. And this can be like plants, animals, microbes with each other and their environment. So, but we're just talking about plants because we love plants. So we're just going to talk about plant communities. Of course, you can include insects and pollinators if you like. So we're just going to talk about plants that are around you. So it's fun to see how we are all surrounded by different plant communities, and we all can become experts at identifying and learning what's there. And I think it's an important thing that actually botanical artists find their plant community around them and lift it up to like share with people. And so believe it or not, I feel like we're actually sort of like citizen scientists because we are paying so much attention to what's out there. We just need to share that. So I think it's sort of like an environmental challenge. So why should you focus on plant communities? And I'm going to give you lots of good reasons. Well, first of all, like I was saying, it brings awareness to native plant communities in your region. And a lot of people, sometimes people don't even understand native versus non-native. So let's just get that figured out. Native plants are defined as the indigenous plants that have evolved and naturally occur there. So some people say they were there before the colonists arrived. So that's kind of the rough definition. Non-native or sometimes accidentally or intentionally introduced to a region. The problem is that the non-native plants can become invasive and they can cause ecological harm to the habitat. But a lot of times a non-native plant will just start reproducing and exist in a ecosystem. Sometimes it doesn't cause harm and it can become just naturalized. Sometimes people are like, well, how do I know if it's native or not? So on the right here, I have a little picture from the Flora of Virginia, and you can see how it says it's native. So that's how I learned what's native or not. And it's really important for our pollinators that have evolved to have native plants and for ecosystem functioning. So also lifting up the plants around you and telling people about that fights what's called plant blindness. And I don't know if you've ever heard of this, but it is a thing where it's the inability of humans to notice and distinguish the plants around them. A lot of times people will just see like the sea of green and think it's all the same, or they can't really tell that they're different. So this bringing awareness and lifting up what you're finding is a way to say, hey, wait, look, there's differences here. This is amazing. So it brings awareness to native plants around you. It has a role in showing how our plant communities are changing. And this is like whether new plants are coming in, what is blooming when things are blooming earlier. So you're kind of doing a snapshot. Botanical art does really focus on one moment of a plant with another plant at a time. So you can kind of tell, like, this is what's happening at this time. And that's called phenology. Like, and I'll get more into that a little bit later. Also, and I think this is really important, our work is beautiful and is in some ways educational and is in some form an outreach. And so your paintings can inspire others to stop and wonder and be curious. And so, and that can lead to maybe people wanting to get more passionate about saving a plant or learning about something. So there is a deeper issue here. Okay, and so, but you don't have to have a beautiful, natural, untouched untouched habitat. You can have, so on the left is from the Shenandoah National Park where I live nearby. And that's like, you would say like kind of untouched. It's managed though. And on the right is disturbed habitat along the sidewalk. It doesn't matter where you are, as long as you are paying attention and seeing what plants are associated with each other and paying attention to those, what you're seeing. And I love this quote. The late E.O. Wilson was a huge inspiration to me when I was studying. The naturalist journey has only begun, and for all intents and purposes will go on forever. It is possible to spend a lifetime in a Magellanic voyage around the trunk of a tree. You can make discoveries and find a plant community around the tree in your backyard.